What's going on, guys? I am back with another review of The Mandalorian. This time we're going to be looking at episode 5. I have to say how much I absolutely love this show, and how much I'm enjoying my subscription to Disney Plus. I mean, it's just this is all I could have hoped for in a Star Wars show. I love the fact that they've worked on a Star Wars series for over a whole decade and they got it right. Now, of course, I'm listening to a bunch of people bashing this show. I listened to a little bit of Angry Joe when they're sitting around. I should have known better than to listen to that because I had to turn it off. Look, I'm all for listening to opposing views, and I do, but a lot of times I turn it off because they're talking about rating this episode like a 6 or a 5, and I'm just like, guys, compared to all the garbage that's out there, and I say this even about the most recent Star Wars movies, that when people gave those a problem, I said, you don't even remember half the movies you see in a year, even the movies that people go to see that they claim that are good, and they considered other things to be bad. Yet I noticed that a lot of times those bad things are more memorable. Maybe you could say because of how bad they are, but I've noticed it's basically like everyone, joins the choir. They already know, they're already converted to that thought process, so it's kind of pointless. But, I feel that a lot of reviewers on YouTube try to be overly critical and try to hold the show accountable when it's doing good, just for the sake of being critical. Have your critiques. There's no one more critical than me half the time on YouTube, but The Mandalorian is such a stylish show. This was an episode that, once again, had it all. You had your comedy, you had a big surprise in there, you had an excellent intro as a bounty hunter is chasing Mando through a star system, and this is just like an awesome dog fight. He's just like on the run. It's so cool looking, so awesome to see something so cinematic in in a television series like this, or in a streaming series, however you want to refer to it as. So Mando lands on the planet. He meets a mechanic which is Amy Sedaris, a familiar face, a familiar actress, and it was cool getting to see her once again. Baby Yoda is just adorable in this, and Mando was looking for a new job. He goes into a bar, and I found that this was really funny. I believe that this might have been the same bar that that Luke went into, where he met Han Solo in episode 4 in A New Hope. And it's so funny because remember, no droids were allowed in the bar. No one was allowed, the droids weren't allowed into the cantina. 3PO and R2D2, the bartender says, hey, no droids allowed. Ben Kenobi tells them to go wait outside, and that's what they do. And here, there is a droid bartender. I thought that was a really nice touch that they did that. Playing off of the movies, those little touches. He says, is there any work in town? He's looking for a bounty to take up. He meets up with a young guy called Toro, and he offers him a job going after a bounty hunter that actually worked for Jabba the Hutt at one point. Once again, name dropping there. Really cool to hear that. So once again, we're about to take off another adventure, but Mando turns it down. Then Toro finally reveals that this is going to be his first job. He wants to be let into the Bounty Hunter Guild, and he has to take in his first bounty to be allowed into the guild. So he says, to Mando, he just wants that credibility. He wants that entry into the guild, that he can keep all the money. So he weasels his way in to going along with Mando, and they go and they chase after this bounty hunter who's waiting in the mountains on Tatooine. And I like how they camp out how there's just this sniper waiting for them who's like, unseen. And that kind of reminded me a little bit of Sniper Wolf from Metal Gear Solid. Like, you can't even see her. She's so far away. You only see the scope of the blaster rifle. And that's just, that was a cool little touch. So, they finally devise a strategy to take her down. They capture the female bounty hunter. And when all of this is said and done, they realize that one of the speeder bikes where they had arrived at this point has been stolen. And so we see that Mando is he goes and he's looking for a dewback, one of those creatures on Tatooine, and he tells Toro to stay there with the bounty. As Mando is off looking for the dewback, this is a really good scene. A lot of good acting here. As the bounty hunter is trying to talk Toro into turning against Mando, she informs him that, of Mando's past, what he's done, how he took off with the child, with Baby Yoda. And, she says, basically, I can help you with that. I can help you, capture Mando. I can do this. And, it seems like he is going to release her. He's going to do something stupid because he's inexperienced. And this is what you think is going to happen. Mando's going to come back and he's going to see that, she's uncuffed, and then we're going to see some big gunfight. And, but we don't get that. He gets all the information that he hears about Mando. And just before he seems like he's been convinced by the bounty hunter to take the cuffs off, he ends up shooting her in the stomach. And he says, thanks for the information. Now he doesn't need her. So I thought that was an awesome part. Because what you thought was going to happen, what your brain told you was going to happen, didn't happen. It spit in the face of any type of cliche you would see on any type of show or drama of any genre. And I really liked that they did that. Once again, a nice touch there. A nice little fake out there, where you get trolled into thinking like, oh, it's going to be one of those types of stories. And then, bam, they hit you with a real swerve there, with a real curveball. And I like that little touch. So we see, he comes back. Mando comes back. He sees that the bounty hunter has been shot, and then he races off, to see what's going on. He kind of just figures it out, that he's headed back to the ship, and he sees that he's holding Amy Sedaris's character hostage, and he's taking Baby Yoda with him. He wants to turn Mando in, tells him put down the blaster. Put his hands behind his head so he could cuff him, but he's got a flare, so he sets the flare off, and he ends up shooting Toro. And really, nice. I just love how these episodes are layered. That's what I'm saying. I can't really criticize this show. It's a lot of fun. It's a real blast to watch. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of cool ideas, a lot of cool references, and maybe that's probably the Star Wars fan bias talking that clouds maybe my judgment, but I don't really care. I mean, really, I'm reviewing a show that I enjoy, so if I enjoy myself and I'm entertained and I'm not bored, and I can't think of any complaints, I'm not here really to dig for them. I'm only going to really state complaints when they're immediately visible. I don't really do that, despite what a lot of people have accused me of on this channel, is looking for things to hate. If I don't see things immediately that are visible to the human eye, that I have to have immediate problems. I'm not looking to hate anything. I want to enjoy it, so that's why I'm happy I'm enjoying The Mandalorian. And of course we get a nice little cliffhanger at the end of somebody approaching and kneeling down. It looked like it was another Mandalorian because you see a long cape. I'm not really sure. Maybe that might be the Carl Weathers character, I'm not really too sure. But I want to see episode 6 to find out who that is, and I want to see what Mando's next adventure is going to be. So, you know, everything is nicely layered, and I love how, like, these episodes don't have to abide by, like, a time code. This episode must be 50 minutes. This episode must be 45 minutes. No. This episode it was like 34, 35 minutes now, counting the credits, and if you skip the intro, you know, just take as much time as you need with an episode. Don't, you know, artificially inflate it. You know, this is on a streaming service. There is no commercial, so you don't need to really abide by any type of, you know, special like time fraction or something like that. Anyway, it was really good. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did you enjoy this episode? Do you agree with like the Angry Joe crowd? Do you believe that this episode left a little bit to be desired, that there were things that could have been better? I don't know. I didn't really see what they were talking about, really. That I think they're unfounded complaints and very, very superficial, like nitpicky complaints over with those guys. But anyway, subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, I'll see you next time.